Good morning, class of 2021. This is Miss Lytle, your college and career counselor here at STEM School Highlands Ranch. Today, I will be sharing a lot of information with you about how to write an effective college essay. Throughout this presentation, there will be several exercises and brainstorming activities. I strongly suggest having a pen and a piece of paper near you, or you can use your laptop to participate in these exercises. Throughout the video, you will hear me tell you to pause the video for a certain amount of time to participate in these exercises. Due to COVID-19, the college essay is worth more than it ever has been before. This is a great way to give your schools insight into who you are, what you're passionate about, and why you would like to attend their university. Today, we are going to begin with a short warm-up exercise. So for our first activity, you need a pen and a piece of paper, or you can use your laptop. The duration of this activity is 2 minutes if you would like to set a timer on your phone or on your computer. The first part of this activity is to take 2 minutes to write down as many adjectives as you can to describe yourself. Feel free to pause the video and participate in this exercise. Now that you have your list of adjectives, we're going to take some time to narrow this list down. It's a great idea to think about 3 different types of adjectives or 3 different words that you would want a college and career counselor to know about you. These college admissions counselors are really trying to get a sense of who you are and how you would describe yourself to others. We're going to use this information in a later exercise when we brainstorm our essays. So pause the video and take 2 minutes now to narrow your list down to 3 main adjectives. Fantastic. Now that we've participated in our warm-up exercise, we're going to move forward, continuing to think about who we are and how we describe ourselves to others, specifically to college admissions officers. So go ahead and open a new document or your computer, or quickly write down as much as you can think about in response to this question. What did you do this morning from the moment you woke up until you left your home? We're going to take 10 minutes to write down as much as we can think about. Write fast. Do not judge what you write. Don't even read it as you go along. Just keep writing and moving forward. We want to be specific, but don't worry about making sense or sounding clever. You can totally write in fragments, sentences, lists, or run-ons. It really doesn't matter. It's not about being formal. This is about being you and sharing your voice with your reader. If you get stuck while you're writing, go ahead and think about your 5 senses. So what did you touch, taste, see, smell, or hear when you were at home this morning? Or think about how you felt. You can pause the video and set a timer for 10 minutes to begin this activity. Now that you have a short paragraph written about how you spent your morning, I want you to dig into your writing. Find 3 segments of your writing that sound like you. Underline or highlight each one. This is really important because your writing voice is unique and it often shines through when you relax and you just write freely. Look back at what you wrote about your morning and highlight any details or examples of your voice. Again, find 3 segments that truly sound like you. They don't need to be exciting or clever. They just need to sound like you. For example, it could be something you always say, do, or think. It could be a description of something that screams my house, my room, my family. It can be a phrase that you like, perhaps a detailed description or something that's clear and specific and sounds like you. We're going to move into exercise 2 now. For exercise 2, we're really thinking about what we want the colleges to know about us. So you're going to make a list of everything you would want a college to know about you. And you can do this in various styles. You can make a bullet point formatted list. You could do a blank sheet of paper with drawings and get creative, or you could use a timeline like the drawing here in the slide. Now that we have your adjectives that you believe represent you and you've found your voice in the first two exercises, I really want us to consider major events in our lives that we can write about. These can be positive or negative events. To give you an example, I had a student that got accepted to Purdue and Duke with an essay about seeing Star Wars for the first time. Seriously, anything that's important to you, add it to your list. Reason number one that this is a good idea is that it generates a list of details and possible topics for your personal statement, supplementary essays, your activities list, and your additional information sections. And this list doesn't have to be a chore. It's basically you making a list of everything that's awesome about who you are, what you've done. It can be pretty affirming and helpful when we're thinking about this college application process. You could always use a parent or a friend to help you with this list. You could say, hey, I'm trying to make a list of all the reasons why any college should love me as much as you do. Can you help me? If you have really general things on your list, you can always use this list to come up with specific examples of those adjectives from our first warm-up exercise. Things like, I can motivate people, or I stick with things that I'm passionate about. So if you're somebody that's danced for 10 years, obviously you've stuck with something that you're passionate about. So go ahead and set a timer for 15 minutes. Give yourself some time to really think about what all has happened in your life, what all you might consider important or pertinent for a college admissions officer to know. Again, these things can come out in various parts of your application, like your personal statement, your college essay, your supplementary essays, your activities list, or if you have an additional info section for your application, it might find its way in there. You have 15 minutes. Pause the video. All right, so for this next step, I always suggest that you have somebody look over this list with you. You can decide with your counselor, your teacher, a mentor, a parent, a friend, where this information should go in your application. You want to make sure that anything that's important to you finds its way in your application, but also that your application isn't redundant or repetitive. So there's a couple of different options for including information. You can put them in your main personal statement or your essay. There might be a section for your activities or your resume. There might be an additional info section where you can add any details that you feel were left off of other parts of your application. Some schools require an extracurricular or a supplemental essay. If a school requires one of those, be sure to include all the details that are important to you in each part of your supplementary, extracurricular, or your main essays. So let's talk a little bit about the essays that are being written for the 2021 school year. You have 6 prompts if you're writing the Common App essay. I know that a lot of you are probably applying to schools that are not on the Common Application as well. What I want to highlight or sort of suggest to you is that most of the Common App essays are very similar to supplemental or additional essays at private universities or more competitive universities. So we're going to dive a little bit into these essay prompts on the Common App first. We're going to do some exercises that would work with other universities as well. So for the Common App this year, you're going to see 7 different essay prompts that you can write about. And I want to talk about these first 5. The first 5 are different from the last 2 because the first 5 truly have to do with growth and challenges. Basically, the colleges are asking you how you've been met with a challenge or something unique in your life and how you learned and grew from it. So you'll notice in questions 1 through 5, several different sort of keywords. The first one's asking about your background, identity, or interest or talent that's meaningful to you. The second is asking about obstacles that you've overcome, a challenge, a failure, or a setback. The third one is also asking you about a time that you were challenged or maybe questioned for a belief or an idea. The fourth one is asking you about an intellectual challenge or a problem that you would like to solve. And the final one has to do with an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth. where you had a new understanding of yourself or others. Typically, that accomplishment, event, or realization has some sort of challenge or something that you overcame in it. Whereas these last two, prompts 6 and 7, are a little bit more creative. I will say that less people write about prompts 6 and 7 than the first 5 prompts. So prompt 6 says to describe a topic, idea, or concept that you find so engaging it makes you lose all track of time. Why does it captivate you? What or who do you turn to when you want to learn more? So question number 6 is more about passion than a challenge. And question number 7 can be really about anything you want it to be. It's one of the most creative of the prompts. It says to share an essay on any topic of your choice. It can be one that you've already written, one that responds to a different prompt, or one of your own design. So as we continue to move through the presentation today, we're going to sort of break up these prompts into 2 things. Prompts 1 through 5, again, are more so about a challenge, something you've overcome, or about growth. Whereas prompts 6 and 7, prompts number 6 and 7 have more to do with being creative and your passion. Uh-oh. So with that knowledge, we are going to move into another exercise. For exercise number 3, we're looking specifically at the prompts and deconstructing them. I want to start with an example of essay number 5 from Common Application. Essay number 5 prompt says, discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. Let's say that you decide to discuss a realization specifically. It's really important for us to highlight and recognize the words that we're using throughout our essay. One of the best things that we can do with a prompt is to dive into that prompt and think about the words that are used within it. For example, the word realize or realization. It's a great idea to grab your thesaurus and look for similar words to help motivate you to use sort of those SAT words or a variety of vocabulary as you write your essay. So if we look up realization or realize, we get words like awareness, recognition, understanding, epiphany, comprehend, conceive, grasp, recognize, know, come, become conscious of, become cognizant of, insight, or vision. If you're going throughout your essay and you're saying, that's when I realized, or then we realized, and then I realized, it sounds redundant and repetitive. But if you say something like, that's when I developed an understanding, that's when I had an epiphany, that's when I became cognizant of, it sounds much more educated, and it's a much stronger essay that you're putting forward. So it's really important that we understand our prompt. We want to think about what our prompt is trying to find out about us. So if you're writing the Common Application essay, think about the Common Application in general. Don't just think about the 7 essay choices specifically. Think about the essay. What is the purpose of the Common App essay? If you're writing a different essay, read the prompt carefully. In your own words, what is it trying to find out about you? Secondly, what do the readers already know about you? Previously, I just discussed how when we make this list or we make this timeline of all the events in our life, we want to make sure that each one of those events is discussed and described in our application. So when we're deciding on an essay topic, we want to think about what the readers already know about us. Remember that an application contains a great deal of information. Think about this. If you have on your list that you play drums, that you babysit, that you have a 3.7 GPA, that you made a 26 on your ACT, that you volunteered at a soup kitchen last summer, all of those components can find their ways into different parts of your application. So you want to pull a component that is nowhere else in your application, or if it's something like I play drums, which would be on your resume, and you want to dive deeper into what that means for you. Maybe you met a challenge in playing in a band, or maybe it's something that you're really passionate about that you want to describe deeply. You really want to think about how all of those pieces come through out your entire application. The last thing is, what do you want your readers to know? So this is why we made our list of adjectives. That's what you want your readers to know about you, how you describe yourself. We found our voice, so you want your readers to know how you communicate, how you speak, what your writing voice is. We've made a list of all of our different activities, accomplishments, things that have gone on in our lives with our timeline. So you want to sort of pick and choose what you want your readers to know about you from that. So think about what you want your readers to know about you. And if they can't find that out from the rest of your application, those are things that you definitely want to include in your essay. If you're thinking that you're confident, that you don't give up, that you used to be a follower, now you're more of a leader. Maybe you've always been a leader and you've become more humble and now you are able to follow others and work with others. Maybe you're creative and you love challenges. All of those things about your personality are the things that we really want to include in our essay. So for exercise 4, I want to give you some time to sort of play with everything we've done so far in relation to outlining those elements and those components in a chart. So we're going to start with 4 boxes: a prompt, an idea for a story, maybe some notes about that, and what do you want your readers to know about you? So take a moment to write this down, these 4 boxes. And I'm going to give you an example of how this might look. For instance, this student chose the background prompt from Common Application. Their idea for a story came from teaching their friend to swim. Under notes, they just sort of quickly jotted down anything that felt pertinent. So I worked with him all summer. He was scared. He wouldn't put his face in the water. The last day he finally tried. I didn't feel frustrated, just wanted to help him. Pool was quiet that day, a little overcast. He was playful and he trusted me. And then thinking about that, how that experience yields sort of qualities about your personality. So what do you want your readers to know about you? I'm patient and diligent. This is the first time I felt like I taught someone something. I want to continue to do that, whether as a swim instructor or in other parts of my life. For example, number 2, let's look at a different prompt, an event that sparked growth and a new understanding. This student's story idea was participating in a robotics competition. Here's their notes. This year, we almost won the state championship. Our coach always told us to focus on one important thing at a time. Under pressure, I remembered that advice and encouraged my teammates to follow it. We worked so well together, even though we didn't win. It was our best year yet. I was proud of my ability to stay calm and proactive under pressure because that's not usually how people see me. So what do they want their readers to get out of this story? I know how to focus and lead others. I apply the lessons I learn. So now it's your turn. Try to do this for one prompt. Go back to your timeline, see if one of your events relates to that prompt. You can also go back to your adjectives and see if one of your adjectives relates to an event or what you want your readers to know. Set a timer for 10 minutes and see if you can get through at least one of these, one prompt with these boxes. Okay, welcome back. We're going to look more at a specific prompt for exercise number 5. So for the last brainstorm, you got to pick any prompt. For this brainstorm, we're going to think specifically about how we connect challenges to future successes. This works best with prompts numbers 1 through 5 of the Common Application. All of these prompts expect a response that follows this format. You've experienced a challenge in your life, and it's made a profound impact on your personality. Those challenges had particular effects and repercussions impacting you in a variety of ways. In order to work through those challenges and to not be defeated by them, you took particular actions, what you did. As a result of your actions, you developed certain resources, skills, or values. The resources, skills, and values you developed as a result of your challenges could serve you well in your chosen career or university setting. So go ahead and create this little box. It can be on your computer or on a piece of paper. We're going to think about a challenge that we've been met with, how it affected us, what we did, how it led us to have certain values, And this last box is optional, but it's a good one to think about. How all of that experience led you to a specific career or a specific university. So let me give you a few examples here. For example, number one, the challenge is that somebody's mom lost their job. The effect of that is that the family had no money, the dad had to work longer hours, and the student could no longer afford to play hockey. So because they were met with this challenge and it affected them in this way, they took action. Under what they did, they got a job, they took on more chores around the house, and they started to tutor their sister in their math homework, probably because their dad had to work longer hours. So we really want to think about how these experiences mold our values. And it's interesting because sometimes the things that we value that come out of these experiences don't seem like a direct link. So if you look at the list that this student made, things like accountability, gratitude, listening, confidence, all of those directly relate to something like getting a job, taking more chores on around the house, tutoring their sister. But if you think about something like health, perhaps the student learned lessons about mental health in relation to the mother losing the job, or something like art. Maybe music is what helped them get through this experience, or something like beauty. Maybe now they're more appreciative of certain experiences and certain things in their life because of the challenge that they've been faced with. And all of those values directly relate to the fact that this student wants to be a high school teacher. For example, number two, this is something that directly occurred and happened to the student. The student developed muscular dystrophy in their eyes. The effects of that are that they have trouble seeing, that they're unable to learn how to read in the standard way, and that there's a delay in their learning. So what they did was they went to physical therapy. They practiced reading with special tools every day. They had to work twice as long as their peers and met with their teachers every day. The values that came out of that experience were things like determination, resourcefulness, tenacity, patience, endurance. And then something like empathy is interesting because perhaps going through this experience made them more empathetic towards others. All of this led them to want to become a physical therapist. So now that you have two different examples of how this exercise works, go ahead and give yourself some time to fill in each section of the table. I want you to think about the fact that if you're still in the midst of your challenge, then it's really hard to write about the end results with as much clarity because you're still learning those life lessons. So think about choosing a past challenge that has shaped you into a more positive and wiser individual. Go ahead and give yourself about 20 minutes on the timer and try and do this for maybe one or two different challenges that you would feel comfortable writing your college essay about. Fantastic. Now, using this chart, I want us to sort of take some time to develop the beginnings of an essay. So far, we know who we are and how we think of ourselves from our adjectives exercise. With the morning routine exercise, we found our voice and we thought about how we share information with others. With our list and timeline exercise, we know what we want colleges to know about us. And now we know how to format a challenge essay because of this last outline exercise that we've done. So let's actually practice writing the essay now. So using a narrative structure, compose a personal essay responding to the following prompt. Describe a time when you faced a difficult situation or circumstance. How did this challenge change your world and in turn change you? How will you use this experience in your future endeavors? So you've done this chart, and now with this chart, you should be able to sort of write just a quick rough draft of moving through this process. This might in turn become the body paragraph of your college essay. Give yourself 10 minutes. I just want you to go ahead and begin the essay. We're not writing the entire essay right now, but I want you to sort of just feel what it feels like to actually put this chart into words. So you can pause the video and set a timer for 10 minutes. So far, we focused on the challenge essay, which is great if you're writing essays 1 through 5 on the Common Application. I wanted to share sort of an optional exercise for the Common App prompts 6 and 7. This exercise is called the Essence Objects Exercise, and I'm not going to lead us through it today because most students I know will write about prompts 1 through 5, but I wanted to share this resource. Some of these exercises that we've done so far come from a website called College Essay Guy. It's an amazing resource. If you're thinking about writing prompt 6 or 7, the Essence Objects Exercise is a fantastic exercise to use to help spark those ideas. I want us to think a little bit about how we tell whether or not a topic is appropriate. The first thing that you want to do is ask yourself why you chose the topic. If it's simply because it's the biggest challenge you've ever faced or the scariest moment of your life, please step back and reassess that reasoning. A college essay should demonstrate something meaningful about you. If the story illustrates positive characteristics, it could work. But if you're just telling the story because you think it's powerful or impactful and you don't really talk about the impact or the power it had on you and your situation, the purpose of the college essay is lost. The second thing I want you to think about is, are you okay with receiving input about this topic? Can you accept editorial comments on the essay? Again, if an experience is too raw or if you're in the middle of it, reflection may be nearly impossible. I often tell students who write about a recent traumatic event that it's clearly important in their life, and I encourage you to write about it. However, it sounds like you're not ready to reflect on it in a personal statement or essay yet. Eventually, you'll have the distance, but it's too soon. If this is something that your teacher or your counselor or your friend can say to you about the essay that you're writing, then that's probably a topic that you need to move away from. It's probably not appropriate. And again, if you're in the middle of it, it's going to be really difficult and nearly impossible for you to reflect on it. This idea of confirming change. If you learn something, have you had the chance to put that learning into practice yet? So people often gain insight into their character during really challenging moments, like an illness or a death of a family member. But you need to think about how that moment sparked change. Can you tell your reader about a time when you behaved differently after that experience? If you can't think of an example, then the experience is too fresh for honest reflection. Consider your audience. So this is an interesting one, but it's very important. If you're applying to a school with a socially conservative or liberal mission, you should definitely keep that in mind when choosing a topic. This is also true if you're applying to religious universities. If you know that you are using a politically or socially sensitive topic to explore the characteristics that you want to highlight in your application, you need to make sure that your personality is coming through. You need to make sure that your reader knows why you're passionate about this topic. So the essay should not read like a manifesto on the social issue or the political issue. So make sure you're not just using this essay as a way to explore the issue. The essay should be about exploring yourself, your relation to the issue, your passion for the issue, or maybe how that issue was a challenge or sparked growth in your own life. And here's my final thoughts on the college essay. First, give yourself ample time to write your essay. I'm sending this video out at the end of August. A lot of you will be meeting application deadlines in October and November if you've decided to do early decision or early action. So I would say it's really important for you to get started right away. Everything included in your essay should have a purpose and relate directly to the story you are telling. So again, you want to go through, you want to look at your timeline exercise, you want to pull out those things that you think are important or pertinent to your essay and to the entirety of your application. Anything that's in your essay, you want to make sure is deepening or developing the story. So I tell students this all the time, don't just recount, reflect. So don't just give us the bullet point list of what happened. Dig deep. These college essay admissions officers, you know, when they're reading your essays, they've read hundreds and hundreds of essays. So you really want to make sure that your experience has the ability to come to life on the page. Again, use those five senses, use your imagery, talk about your feelings, dig deep. If you're just giving them statements, sort of a play-by-play of what happened, and you're not talking about how you felt or how you changed or what you noticed, that's going to lessen the effect and the power of your essay. Be sure to have at least 3 people review your essay. This could be your parents, friends, teachers, counselors, etc. So our counseling team is here definitely to provide feedback on your essays. We have fantastic English teachers here at STEM that would be more than happy to look over your essay and give feedback. Also, use your friends and your family as resources. Again, it's really good idea to have at least 3 people look over your essay. Have them, you know, keep in mind who you are and what you're wanting to promote and share in your essay. You could even give them that list of adjectives or maybe your outline to make sure that all of the points that you want to make are coming through. Read your essay out loud. This is so important. Often the college admissions officers are actually reading the essays out loud in a group to make a decision about a student. So if something sounds awkward, be sure to change it. Be yourself and be honest in your essay. Let your personality shine. I can't drive this home enough. I think it's so important to be truthful and to be honest about who you are, you know, why you feel the way you feel, and to really, again, dig deep in that essay, not just recounting and reflecting. You're going to match with the best possible university if you are honest in your essay. And then finally, grammar and spelling do matter. So we want to proofread and proofread again before we hit submit. And this is true of the entire application, not just the essay. Go back through, read any little boxes that you've had to fill in. Make sure that your address is spelled correctly. It sounds silly, but sometimes those little pieces can get overlooked. So you want to make sure that you read over your entire application, including your essay, to make sure that your spelling and your grammar are correct. I just want to tell everybody good luck in this application season. I know that things are a little bit crazy this year with COVID, but I promise you guys, I'm here to help and support you. Your English teachers are here to help and support you. And we're going to make this year a great year, the year of 2021. I'm so proud of this class already. If you have any questions, feel free to stop by my office or to send me an email. Thank you for participating in this college essay planning event. Good luck.